Hi, this is Mark. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then welcome to my channel, and I hope that you'll stay a while. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about taxes, but probably not in the way that a lot of you are used to hearing about taxes. I'm also going to tie it in with COVID, some Washington, D.C. politicians, some big tech companies, and even an international bank. So there's a lot going on here today. First, if you could do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, then I'd really appreciate it. And let's get started. So I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with taxes, especially income taxes, sales taxes, maybe even property taxes. But today I'm going to talk about privilege tax. What privilege tax is it's a tax for the privilege of doing some type of business or having a license. For example, a lot of states where you have to register your car, they have a privilege tax portion of that. That's the privilege of registering your car and driving it within the state. In Arizona, where I do a lot of business in terms of real estate, if you live in a house that you own, there's no tax because you're living there. But if you rent it, then that's considered doing business and you pay a privilege tax every month on the rent. With most cities, it's about 2% plus or minus, a little more, a little less, depending on the city. And then you calculate the rent each month, and then you send in 2% to the state that pays it out to the city. You can pay either monthly or quarterly, but that's the privilege tax in Arizona. So how does this all tie in to all the things I mentioned before, the DC politicians, big tech, and COVID? Well, if you're familiar with COVID, what's happened is that a lot of businesses have had some or most or even all of their employees working from home. This isn't true in all cases where you have to meet with the public, like in retail, or if you have to be on site. For example, some of the meat packing and meat cutting places, you have to be at the processing plant. But a lot of office buildings, a lot of tech companies where you can do remote working, you work on your computer, they work from home. So how does this relate to a privilege tax? Well, the way it relates is that a Deutsche Bank, a large German bank, has proposed a 5% working from home privilege tax. So any company that has an employee who works from home would have to pay 5% of that employee's salary as a privilege tax. It would come directly out of the employee's salary, similar to way withholding comes out for Social Security or income taxes. Now, why does Deutsche Bank want to do that? Well, as it turns out, they're a large commercial brokerage, so they have a lot of investment and make a lot of money from commercial properties, so that when those properties aren't rented, Deutsche Bank isn't making as much money. A lot of the companies have realized that their employees can be just as productive working from home as they can be in the office. And if you don't need those employees in the office, then you don't need all that office space. And if you don't need all that office space, then when you get rid of it, you save a lot of money on your expenses. And when you save a lot of money on your expenses, you become more profitable. That's good for each of the companies, but it's not good for Deutsche Bank. Now, there's a rumor going around that this 5% privilege tax is being pushed by the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, the Congresswoman from San Francisco, from the Bay Area. From what I can tell, that's completely false. She has nothing to do with it. It's just yet another conspiracy theory. I have looked online for this, and I don't see her name anywhere associated with this except in rumors on Twitter and that kind of a thing. And it doesn't make sense to me that she would be involved anyway, because she's from the Bay Area. There are a lot of tech companies up there, Twitter, Facebook, and the like, that are doing this working from home progress. Right now, and into 2021, and in some cases, maybe forever. Nancy Pelosi isn't going to be doing any favors to her constituents if she puts in a 5% work from home privilege tax that a lot of the big companies and major employees with a lot of money and a lot of employees who pump a lot of money into the economy would then have to pay. So I don't see that happening. I think it's a rumor and completely false. So what does all this mean for the short term, medium term? How's it all going to end up? I think in the United States, it ends up going absolutely nowhere. It's a wish that Deutsche Bank may want, and maybe they have some impact and more influence in Germany. They can get it done there where they have a much larger presence. But in the United States, it's not going to happen. There isn't going to be a 5% privilege tax. So all the people who are getting up in arms and they're all crazy about it and they're all worried and they're all having a cow about it, you can all settle down, you can all be calm. It's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. So that's what I think about the privilege tax. That's the history. That's where it came from. That's where I think it's going to go. I'd love to hear what you think. If you want, go ahead and leave me a comment down in the comments section below. And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, if you could please do that, that would mean a lot to me. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.